Black men die every day, B. What up, though? It's Suicide Prevention Month. A few years ago, I wrote an article for AURN.com, and it was called It's Like a Jungle Sometimes, Black Men and Suicide. And I wrote that piece because I felt then the same reason I feel right now. There's not enough conversation happening about why Black men are taking their own lives at an alarming rate. I had read this stat back then from minorityhealth.hhs.gov that stated that the third leading cause of death amongst Black males was suicide. So I was inspired to write this fictional story about a gentleman named Troy, who is a Black man, a husband and a father, and he's in a real bad place. He can't express or talk to his wife. His wife got a sense that something's going on, but he won't say nothing. He's been unemployed for a while right now, and he's struggling, and he doesn't feel like a man because he feels as if he can't provide, therefore he shouldn't exist. And it doesn't help when you got shade room comments telling you that real men don't go 50-50, when as a real man, you can't even go 50-50 on the bag of Skittles. I tell the story later on about how Troy meets up his two best friends at a bar, Rashad and Calvin. He wants to tell them what's going on. He's feeling real sad. He wants to express, but instead they keep the conversation very surface level. They continue to watch the game, eat some wings, and take some shots. His man Rashad says, "Yo, you all right?" And Troy just says, "Yeah, just some stuff at work, but I'll be all right." His man Calvin is like, "Yeah, you be all right." Well, first of all, we know Troy is lying because you ain't got no job, Tommy. But he doesn't feel secure enough to want to tell his two closest brothers what's going on with him. And this is actually really common. You see, according to Dr. Patrice N. Douglas, who's a licensed therapist, who wrote a piece called In Black Boys, Black Men, and Suicide, one of the multitude of reasons why Black men do not want to express their sad thoughts or thoughts like this that are sensitive is because of, quote, shame and guilt due to expectations of being a Black male. And I can tell you personally that one of those expectations for you as a Black man to walk around with this hard exterior, to be tough and rough all the time. And boy, the one thing you do not want to be called or considered as a Black man, and that is weak, paper soft, thin, butter soft, a slice of pizza, something that's easy to be stepped on. Matter of fact, the biggest disrespect is for one man to call another man the P word. Oh boy, all hats are off, which I never really understood because as a heterosexual man, I love the P. Matter of fact, I feel I'm getting off track. I continue to write the story about how Troy, he pulls up in his house, and Troy actually is feeling like today's the day. His wife and his kids, they're gone, and he says, I'm going to go in the house, I'm going to write a letter, and I'm going to tell them I'm sorry. His phone starts vibrating, he picks it up, and this is man Rashad, who says, yo, we just lost Calvin. Calvin took his own life. He said, I actually borrowed that from a real part of my life. You see, since I was 8 or 9 years old, on and off, I have been dealing with what is called suicide ideation. Nobody touched me. It was no harm or no type of abuse. I just, at that age, didn't want to be here anymore. And it was disturbing for me to feel that way, but it walked with me every time I grew. And when I would experience heartache or tragedies that was happening in my block, around my way, it just added to the fire. My friends thought I was like always down for that action. Always with it, right? Nah, what it really was is I was always jumping into something because I thought somebody or something was going to have the courage to be able to do what I lacked. That was a silly thought that I had. And this thought came and went throughout my adolescence all the way up until my young adulthood. So much so that up until some years ago, I was at my girlfriend's apartment in DC. She was out of town. I was down, no money. My career had stalled. I was feeling all kind of things. And I said to myself, today is going to be the day. I got up, I started to write her a note, and my phone started ringing. I picked it up. It's my man from Detroit, and he says, we just lost Snacks. You see, Snacks was a dear friend of myself and a lot of people back home, and that brother decided that day that he didn't want to be here no more. I knew he had been going through some things, but not to the degree where he was actually going to take action. I said to myself in that moment, I got to do something. I got to do something. And I went to go on my mental health journey shortly later on in that year. You see, I got professional help because that's what was needed. And it helped me work out a lot of other issues also too. But I'll be the first to tell you, therapy is not an antidote. Matter of fact, it's not about having an absolute solution. It's about creating tools for yourself so you can be able to counter when those sad or depressing emotions are happening for you. So you see, I live by a very short philosophy. Therapy, self-work, water, and minding my own business. And it's something that I share amongst my friends all the time because it is tough being a Black man out here. There's always some sort of image or imagery that is always trying to dismiss you and make you feel less than, make you feel inadequate, make you feel like you have to live up to a certain standard in order for you to be a man within yourself. And those things are simply not true. And they're trying to get within your head, not to mention the stuff that you are dealing with day by day. Professional help is one thing that I always advocate for because look, chilling with your mans and them is good, But you ain't gonna ask your man, look at your wisdom tooth that's bleeding in the back. So don't always trust your mans when it comes to dealing with your mental things that are going on with inside. Now I'm all about community, being you need all of those things. And I love the fact that I have a family around me that love and care about me and a close circle of people that I can go to. It's levels to this thing, and it's an everyday practice that I always want to advocate for. But if you are at that point where you feeling like you want to make a decision now, there are a multitude of resources that you can go online, you can look at. And look, I get some of them are expensive, but there's one I give you for free, and that's the call 988. That's from the Suicide and Crisis Hotline. All you got to do is be able to call that line, and you can actually text it if you actually need to also too. Or you can do it for a friend. You can join them in doing it, because I'm all about community, and I feel like community is all it's going to take for us to make it work, amongst other things. Because I promise you, one thing that I've learned that I like to pass on, as long as you got breath in your lungs and your eyes open, the journey for yourself is always worth it.